flirtation had deepened, but Jayne's confidence that Scott wanted to do more than flirt had waxed and waned, because he'd never suggested they fly to see each other. Jayne hadn't suggested it either. She'd even become glad of the distance. Bouts of insomnia and hypervigilance over the years had left her feeling 95 rather than 35, and she figured she had some of the outward changes to go with it. Now Scott was here in L.A., and she'd only had 2 days' notice. Not enough time to get 5 years of sleep or, a butt lift. Pushing her sunglasses into her hair to constrain waves that had been whipped into something unruly on the drive over, she alighted just as Scott reached the Jeep's front bumper. He was close enough for Jayne to catch his quick assessment of her from head to toe, and she resisted the urge to suck in her stomach. Any more, anyway. "Not bad," he said as they shook hands slowly. Elated, Jayne tried for nonchalance. "You're not looking so bad yourself." His mouth twitched into a grin. "I meant how fast you made it here. Speeding, were you, Steelie?" Steelie was coming around the car with her toolbox. "You want our help or not, Houston?" She returned his grin as she clasped his hand briefly. Scott looked pleased. "Follow me. I'll introduce you to the team." Jayne reached into the back of the Jeep to retrieve her own toolbox and steadied her breathing. There was still something between her and Scott, even without the dinner crew's low light and mood music. For now, that was all she needed to know in order to switch to work mode, and she followed the others. On the far side of the Suburbans, a huddle of 5 men broke up, lowering clipboards and clearing throats. 4 of them were dressed like commandos, and Scott introduced them as Special Agent Steve Weiss, Dwayne Sparks, Tony Lee, and Xavier Tollin. They were collectively known as the Critters, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Critical Stabilization and Recovery Unit, there to maintain chain of custody for any evidence collected that day. Scott then addressed his team, inclining his head toward the women. Jane Hall and Steely Lander, they run Agency 32-1, an outfit that does forensic profiles of missing persons, matching them up with unidentified bodies or living does. I called them in because they're forensic anthropologists, and they do dental as well. Steely here's a triple threat, because she's also a lawyer, so watch your P's and Q's. These are the people who's going to tell us if everything we've got is human, so we defer to them at the scene. Okay? There were polite nods all round, and then Scott said he needed a minute to brief the newcomers. The Critters cleared the area, but the one man Scott hadn't yet introduced kept his stance, feet spread, one hand held over the other in front of his body, causing the fabric of his suit to pull slightly over muscular arms. Jayne thought he was in his mid-30s like she was, with skin about as brown as her own, but his dark hair was straight, and his eyes... She averted hers. He had been looking at her, looking at him. Scott was gesturing at him. "My partner, Special Agent Ramos." Jayne started. "You're Eric?" He stepped forward to shake her hand. "Uh-oh. What's he been saying about me?" "No, nothing. I mean, it's a pleasure to meet you." He smiled. "In that case, Scott, I'll get you your money later." He turned to greet Steely. "All right, let's get started," Scott said. "We're dealing with a single vehicle accident around 5 a.m. on the 101 right here behind us. A guy's car takes out part of the side railing. He tries to get out of a DUI charge by telling Highway Patrol he rear-ended a van, then had to swerve to avoid a body." "A body lying on the freeway?" Jayne interrupted. "No. That's the thing. He says the body came out of the van he hit. Happened to have noticed the van earlier because it had a peach on the license plate, and he'd just had a belly full of peach schnapps." "Peach plate," Steely said. "Georgia. Got it in one." So there was no sign of a body, but CHP reports that the side railing scraped off part of the front of this guy's car. Anything could have dropped down under the freeway because it's one of the sections with a berm sloping off it on the north side. Lots of vegetation creating a basic ravine situation. They secured the area as soon as their flashlights picked up what they thought were body parts. Jayne looked toward the ravine. "How many BPs are we talking about?"